Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's Obus Form here on the new channel, the Obus Focus. Today's video is going to be another tournament number 6 match. It's WotC Lucas. As you guys know, WotC Lucas is one of the Wizards of the Coast devs. He pays attention to the bugs and feedback channel versus Amerinan. Tournament number 6, as you guys know, is a best 2 out of 3, at least for the group stage. And so this match is from Block H. And it's basically a best 2 out of 3. You can use any planeswalkers you want, any cards, except for the healer's kit, because it was bugged, and the Ashiok plus Warlock class card combo. Just to keep in mind, this patch was before, or this particular matches rather, was before the Drizzt nerf. As you guys know, Drizzt's, Icing Death and Defend with Twinkle was turned into 3 mana now, right, instead of 2. Gwenhovar, his passive, was now turned into a non-trampling cat, and Forest Arena is no longer +2/+2, it's now +1/+1. Several other nerfs as well, right, and they fixed the bugs. Several other nerfs, including Infernal, that 4-mana dragon that when it attacks gives you an artifact, is now 2/2 instead of 2/3 to make it trade or make it die faster to, drain blood, and any other sort of 2 damage like shock spells. In any case, so this match is done before that, and without further delay, we're gonna get right into it. Alright, so game number 1 is WotC Lucas. Okay, he does do the wizard class. We do see the wizard familiar. Versus Amerinan on Vraska with the graveyard land. Turn 7 has a 30% chance to give a random zombie. So, because WotC Lucas has Refreshment Stand, it gives the Scathing Glare to Amerinan. We don't know what WotC Lucas got, but on his turn 1, what does he decide to play? Usually some of the turn 1 plays we see from Jace are that 3/3 Ruin Shell crap that can't attack, or the spawning Arakoa, right, just for more chump blockers, because again, this game is pre-nerf Drizzt, and also Amerinan has to get, okay, so we do see WotC Lucas blow his mana gem instantly to get Isochron Scepter. I guess he's fishing for, a shock, an Abrade, or something to do with the 2/2 right now, but yeah, Amerinan, no hesitation, plays the level 1 Druid quest just to get it started. And so now on turn 2, WotC Lucas, it's time to shock, it's time to Abrade, it's time to deal with that stuff. Okay, nope, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get what he's fishing for, so, and he decides not to proc his Isochron Scepter. That's interesting. In any case, Amerinan does attack, and I think WotC Lucas, yeah, he's gonna block, and he maximizes the HP and does take the 3 damage. One thing when you're playing Vraska against Jace, usually those Jace players are going to be splashed white or red. Signs of white splash are like the 2-mana Leonin healer, right? Or else you gotta guess when the Day of Judgment is gonna come, or the Lava Wave is gonna come, or something like that. So usually that's how it goes. We don't see many of the other colors splashed like black or green with Jace, so that's what we're gonna see. So Befuddling Merfolk does get played by WotC Lucas. Again, this is pre-nerf Drizzt, and that's why we do see sort of early survival, but Amerinan does get Scathing Glare thanks to the Refreshment Stand, and that really does help him. So yeah, so now just like that, because of the Grudge Match and the Scathing Glare, Amerinan has a ton of tempo. Yeah, I think it's time to block, because usually players block, and they chump block when it's 4 damage. So WotC Lucas now does have a stun in hand, but at 4 mana, maybe it's the time. Hopefully you have like a, what's it called? The Drace's Apprentice. That would be a great play because you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope, okay, gets the Isochron Scepter. Sounds like, and it rather looks like he doesn't really have an answer to the 4/2. Doesn't have a creature at least. Okay, so he does get Retaliate, but maybe he doesn't have Jace's Apprentice. So Amerinan on 6 mana, yeah, you just gotta play the Bone Club Shambler, the Infectious Scorpion, and that's pretty much it. You don't have any targets for Fallen Angel. Fallen Angel, as you guys know, it kills a power 3 creature or less, creature of power 3 or less, and the most perfect target is Jace's Apprentice that has lost its ward. So Amerinan is probably waiting for that. But in any case, WotC Lucas with 5 mana, he really needs to start dealing with the board pressure, and he's probably either going to wait until turn 7 Day of Judgment if he's splashed white, or turn 8 for Lava Wave or something. Okay, so we do see Chill Wind. How else will you deal with the board? And we do see Isochron Scepter created Fatal Infection. But 3 mana left over. Is that going to be an unsummon? Is it going to be a remand? because Amerinan on turn 7 with 7 mana, he might have a lot of things to play. And it looks like it, right? As Vraska, you would have a lot of combos to play, but nope. Amerinan passes on the entire turn 7. It makes WotC Lucas a little hesitant. At least I would be. Okay, he does get Eminent Archangel. Heals for the 6. But there we go. There's a perfect target for it. And just like that, he's going to take the 5 damage. So it's kind of like one turn, just, you know, one turn more. That's how Jace plays. You have to buy turns. Eminent Archangel purchased one more turn. There we go. There's a Day of Judgment. And I think now, after playing Day of Judgment and having no more mana, it's probably the perfect time to play Wild Shape Brontosaurus. Okay, no. And just feeling enough, he does not do that and decides to go for the Elite Forest Ranger and gets the Nuzzle instead of Plummet. I maybe would have picked Plummet just because we see White Splash, and sometimes White Splash gets those Acroma and clones. But Wild Shape Brontosaurus was not played, but it was an empty board, so, and it was after Day of Judgment too. We'll see if that works in Amarinan's favor later on. So WotC Lucas does play that Mage that gives him one more card, 4 mana left over. Maybe it is time to lock and load your Remands, your Negates, your other, you know, that's a Perfect Sphere or something, that 2 mana thing that counters any legendary. But he gets a grudge match from the Isochron Scepter. And so WotC Lucas does have board control, but he is down. Okay, so again, 2 mana looks like Remand. Maybe it's the time not to play the Wild Shape and just guess, yeah, there we go. So Spirit Crown Stag does get remanded, but nope, it doesn't matter. Amerinan will just play it again. And they trade even Stevens. Amerinan does get the 2/1 draw card when it dies of zombie. So WotC Lucas now finally on turn 9 with 9 mana. 5. He hasn't played, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, he hasn't played the class card yet. He hasn't played that Owl, the 1/1 familiar. So, okay, decides to play it right now. Wow. Decides to play it right now, but it doesn't really, it's kind of late, right? Because he already used a Day of Judgment. So he's sort of missing that value that he could have had, maybe. He does get a Frost Titan, all right, but unfortunately, Amerinan does have the Turn to Stone, which is a perfect answer to the Frost Titan, and he gets a Detonator from the graveyard. I think Detonator is like the one zombie you never want as Vraska, because if it dies, it has a finale of dealing 4 damage to yourself, but it'll proc twice if it dies on your turn, so you can never attack with it if the enemy has a favorable trade. You can only attack when the enemy has unfavorable trades, like right now. WotC Lucas on turn 10 with the 10 mana. Is it time to Day of Judgment? Or can you turn it around? Is it time to proc your passive? I think it might be time to proc your passive, even though you're, okay, decides, wow, Strahd. Okay, all right, big risk. I think he's doing that because he's basically blocking Detonator from playing Amerinan top stack Flagrant Foul, the perfect answer. And I guess that means Amarinan's gonna attack with everything. Yeah. So WotC Lucas took a big gamble with Strahd. He doesn't have Hasten. And he kind of lost that gamble because now he's down to 10 life. And Amerinan just Flagrant Fouled that guy. And so now Detonator value is there. There we go. And so WotC Lucas takes 4 damage to the face because he lost his gamble. But hopefully he'll have a Day of Judgment or something to clean off the board. Okay, he gets a Chroma. He's missing 1 damage. And I think he already used the, what was the Grudge Match and the Fatal Infection. So I don't think his Isochron Scepter has a shock or any sort of other direct source of damage. How fascinating. He also did not proc his passive, so he doesn't have any of those 1 mana clones. So yeah, Amerinan is at 1 life, and effectively, so Leonin Healer, there we go, heals himself. Effectively at 1 life, that means Detonator is a, well, it's a dead card. If you can kill the Detonator, Amerinan loses, but just like that, Amerinan again, top stack, Sinister Southpaw. What are the chances? Amerinan top deck, Sinister Southpaw. He can probably target his 2/2, there we go, his blocking guy. Yep, kills Acroma, but he cannot attack with the Detonator unless he decides to nuzzle it. And WotC Lucas, if he does nuzzle it, he'll probably block the 2/2 or the 2/1 just to maximize the block value of the Leonin Healer, the 2/3 guy. So yep, there we go. We do see Amerinan does get another 2 mana, but that's not enough to cast anything in his hand except for Fatal Infection, which he probably will not use on the 2/1. So that's it, yep. Okay, Watsy Lucas, it's time, I think, at 3 life and you're past it down to 2. Yeah, it's time to do that. Hopefully you get the artifacts to draw more cards, you get Anticipate, you get those, there we go, you get the Divination, yeah, draw 2 more cards. So now we know Watsy Lucas has 3 cards costing 1 mana. So there we go, there's Eminent Archangel, there's one of them. And what are the other 2 cards? Okay, we get Arcanist, the Archmage, and we do see 5 manas available. So he could, if he wanted to, oh no, he cannot. If he gets the Sneak, it's game over. If he gets Mind Control, it's also kind of game over. Although if Amerinan does play the Watcher Brontosaurus, okay, he does get the Anticipate. So he has, I think, at least 2 more cards at 1 mana. Watsy Lucas. It could be Remands, it could be, I don't know, but if he's not casting it, I think it might be the Traps. There we go. So that's the 1 mana Remand. Yeah, usually when you play against Jace, and if you have to count how many cards he has at 1 mana, he's gonna play all of them. Fatal Infection, yeah, it gets negated too. You gotta count all of them, and if he has anything left over, you can almost kind of tell it's a trap, or it's just really not a good time to play Day of Judgment because he also has board presence. Amerinan does not attack because nothing is a favorable attack. Watsy Lucas says, you know, GG, repulses, yep, the 3/3 Soul of the Wood. And just like that, Watsy Lucas does the 3 damage ping and ends the game. So it looks like Strahd Gamble, the Strahd he got from earlier, was a good time to play it, even though Vraska top-decked the Flagrant Foul, top-decked the Sinister Southpaw to answer a Chroma. But it looks like it came out in the end because, you know, Jace had a very well-timed Remand that Vraska couldn't play against or play into. And so yeah, very well done, Watsy Lucas. You're gonna go on to game number 2. All right, game number 2. Okay, this time it's Watsy Lucas on Vraska, and we do get to see the opening hands and both their hands versus Amerinan on the pre-nerf Drizzt. So Watsy Lucas, I mean, if you're gonna fight against Amerinan, you probably need that early, yeah, the Drain Blood, the Infectious Scorpion, Abyssal Chain is probably, you know, too late. It doesn't have any good combo value early on. You just gotta survive that sort of, you know, aggro from Amerinan with the legends that he's gonna play. So Watsy Lucas goes second, Amerinan goes first, but unfortunately he doesn't have anything to play, so he passes. Turn 1, Watsy Lucas plays the Cocoon. As you guys know, when the Cocoon it dies, it does spawn 2 random, I think it's a 1 or 2 cost thing. So turn 2, Amerinan plays Drizzt's Herald, makes himself a legendary, but Watsy Lucas has the perfect answer, Drain Blood. Attacks with the 0/1 Cocoon and just, you know, sort of farts on Amarinan's face. Turn 3, Amerinan, he does have Watch Wolf, and he does have the Elite Vanguard, but plays the Untested Rookie. As we guys know, Untested Rookie, it gets the +3/+3 if it survives combat, and Amerinan has to have Giant Growth, you know, that 1 mana trap that has the armor to make it work, but he doesn't have any of that, so maybe he just has to bluff it out. And let's see, turn 4, finally, Amerinan does get Tajic. He is probably going to, there we go, attack with Tajic and the 3/4 Watch Wolf, I'm pretty sure. We do see the pre-patch nerf Drizzt with the Gwenwivar with the, you know, that damage, the trample damage, and the 4/5 Tajic does get blocked. But it looks like Watsy Lucas has the perfect answer in hand to Tajic, which is a Flagrant Foul. My only hope is that Amerinan does not draw a, you know, 4 mana 2/3 Inferno or the 4 mana Zozu next turn, because that 3/2 a I guess the Soul of the Wood is not going to be able to block a Zozu or some of that Inferno value. So let's see how Amerinan does make it work. Watsy Lucas does play his Vraska Stone, but yeah, I don't think he's going to use it now, just because he wants to keep his guys on board to block. So turn 5, Amerinan, he does get Watch Wolf, but he doesn't have any more legends in him, which is too bad. Oh, so he does attack with everything, and it looks like he's bluffing, but if you want to call the bluff, you'd probably block the Watch Wolf first. And then, okay, so he does the defend with Twinkle. There we go. There's the Untested Rookie. So now we want to see, maybe Watsy Lucas is going to take just the 2 damage and somehow block the 3/4. Yeah, and doesn't want to risk blocking the 2/4. There's no reason to proc the Untested Rookie. by the way. So we do see Icing Death spawn in Amarinan's hand, but again, he's just flooding the board, kind of like Domri, where Domri just floods the board with, you know, just effective creatures, but we don't see Amerinan have any legend. So it is stopping his play, and I think WotC Lucas wants to kill his guy, the 2/3, just so he can, okay, no, it decides not to, but just so he can cast maybe double infection on those three, on the 2/4, or maybe the 3/2 and the 3/4. So anyways, Amerinan does see Deep Forest Arena proc, and the only way to proc it is Elite Vanguard. And again, WotC Lucas has nothing to do for damage, so he has no answer to that 4-life Watch Wolf or the 4-life Untested Rookie. And if you're testing for traps, so he does stun something. If he does test for traps, he's probably going to test first on the, you know, the 3/2 instead of the Untested Rookie. So yeah, Amerinan attacks with everything. Maybe you test for traps on the 3/1. Nope. All right, so there's a Giant Growth. And now the 3/3 will have to choose what to block. Is it going to block the 3/1? Yeah. And he's still going to take 7 damage. But as we know now, after this, Amerinan is pretty much top decking. And WotC Lucas is sort of going to have to survive and deal with a 4/4 Untested Rookie, which he honestly has no answer to, but maybe that's the answer. Recycle Grotesque becomes, if he does cast, he's going to gain 6 life. And it's going to become, yeah, a basically 8/8 with Ward. And that pretty much hard answers anything that Amerinan has on hand and in the play. As you guys know, the biggest thing about Drizzt is that he doesn't really have removal. Everything is based on his creatures, like Grudge Match, like Blindside. So if he doesn't have any high health creatures, there's no real way, or rather high damage creatures, there's no real way to come back from, you know, losing the board. So slowly WotC Lucas is sort of bringing it back, but he does take 7 damage, and Amerinan is still at a very healthy 24, but he is top decking. So we do see the, yeah, he's going to attack with the 8/3. I think it's going to get blocked by the 3/4. There we go. No traps on either side. And maybe WotC Lucas is going to Fatal Infect. Yeah, there we go. And I think he's just going to not block the 5/3. And then over time, when the Blood Queen Drana does build enough health, then maybe that's it. But nope, too bad. Amerinan top stack a Grudge Match. Too bad. Honestly, that's very too bad. Yeah, look at that. He does top deck that, and makes the 6/2. You know, that 3/1 guy becomes a 6/2, but he does get the Mammoth. I don't want to call it, but unless Amerinan gets a very amazing top deck, Devoted Steed. Wow. What are the chances? So he does manage to, yeah, you do have to block, unfortunately, otherwise you'll die. But it looks like they're both top decking now. Excuse me. But Amerinan is top decking without any combo potential, while WotC Lucas, there we go. We do see the Deep Forest Arena. Huh. Turns out you can still kill it even though it has Ward. He does get Tarask, and I don't know if he can play that though. Yeah, maybe get the Mysterious Cocoon, because you can't play Tarask now. Oh, actually he could have, but maybe he just didn't forgot that. So actually I forgot that too, interesting. He could have played Tarask. So I think that's why he said wow, because he made that mistake. And also Amerinan didn't, you know, didn't proc his Giant Growth. And alright, so there we go. And although that looks like a waste, I don't think so. Okay, Amerinan does get, or sorry, WotC Lucas does get the Ilarg. I don't think it's a waste because, as we all know, Drizzt, his entire board control is based on creatures. So depriving him of creatures means he cannot, you know, again, he cannot Grudge Match, he cannot do his traps, he can't Blindside. So there we go. I think this is WotC Lucas's game. Don't want to call it too early. It's possible Amerinan does have a Day of Judgment, but most Drizzt decks that are optimized don't run a Day of Judgment because it's, well, it's not optimized. Because you're not going for control, you're going for, like, you know, high aggro, like Ilarg. Sorry, not Ilarg, like, you know, Yinog, that 2/2 kills everything on your board. So we do see a Zozu, but I think Zozu is just going to smash face into the 7/6. Doesn't really matter what happens. He might have to do, yeah, he might have to do the Giant Growth and everything else. So we'll have to see, but I think he can. He'll probably kill off the 2/2, maybe just attack. Let's see how he decides to Grudge Match himself. Alright, and a Giant Growth, there we go. What are the chances that he does have everything he needs? So yeah, again, wow. He attacks, And it's gonna get blocked by the 2/2, but it does have ward. Wow, indeed. All right, so it becomes a 17-1 with ward. And we do know that the cat is going to come next turn. And just like that, WotC Lucas does not draw a creature, cannot block. And that is the end of game number 2. So it looks like it's going to be a 1-1 match. WotC Lucas won on his Jace and Amerinan won on Drizzt. And now we're gonna go into game number 3. All right, game number 3, because WotC Lucas, he is now on, rather WotC Lucas is on Drizzt pre-nerf, Drizzt super aggro with the Forest Arena, right? And versus the Domri. As you guys know, Domri is all about just slapping the board with a ton of 2 or 3 cost creatures. We do see the Looting Lizard, but that's probably just to refill his hand. And we do see the Molten Monastery on Domri at turn 5, I believe, has a 40% chance, it's the only land, has a 40% chance to draw him an extra card that he does have to use. Turn 1, WotC Lucas plays the Birds of Paradise, but he doesn't have the Yenog, unfortunately. Turn 1, Amerinan plays the 3/2 Leaping Lemur, can't block. And turn 2, WotC Lucas might start the, Drizzt's Herald on the Birds of Paradise. There we go, because there's no blocker. All right, and we do see Gwenhwyvar do the 1 damage. But luckily for Amerinan, he does have the Get to Archer, which is a perfect answer. And I think he's just gonna do that. Yeah, there we go. Perfect answer. And attack with the Leaping Lemur. I'm assuming WotC Lucas did not expect that. Amarinan's like, wow. They're both like, wow. And yeah, WotC Lucas does block. And again, when Drizzt, who is super aggro, is behind on creatures, at turn 4, it's the time for magic. It's the time for Zozu, Inferno, Tajik, or that 2/4, you know, that eyeball-y guy. But instead, he does play the Spear Crown Stag, and he does gain board tempo and control. But again, Amerinan has the answer, yeah, with that 3, with the Get to Archer. So it's not like WotC Lucas is truly having board control. I mean, he's just creature after creature is getting destroyed. And there we go, another Spear Crown Stag kills the Get to Archer. I think WotC Lucas needs to get those big combos. So we do see Stoneforge Mystic. Amerinan does play Peer the Dreamer, but we do see, you know, guys like Stoneforge Mystic and all that stuff. Amerinan plays Goblin Shortcutter, but I don't think he needed to. I think he could have played Colonian Tusker, but I think he wanted to maybe save Colonian Tusker because it's 4 damage, and he wanted to give that to Peer the Dreamer. At least that's what I'm thinking. But otherwise, he doesn't have anything good to block. And yeah, we have WotC Lucas play the Hasty Mongrel, and there's nothing good to block that, so Amerinan decides to block with the Boar. Next turn is going to be Colonian Tusker, I'm assuming, right? Okay, so we finally do see Matron Malice come out of WotC Lucas. There we go. Maybe Gwenhwyvar can now be level 2 cat. Alright. Amerinan does get more creatures. He does have to play the Glade Covert. Oh, no, okay, decides not to. And as you guys see that, Pierre, as you guys know, procs on every creature that's cast, including Gwenhwyvar and any debuts or any sort of creatures that get cast. So it is 4 damage. I don't know if anyone's going to block that. Okay, he does block. Again, WotC Lucas is not particularly on the attacking offensive. He's blocking-ish, but we'll have to see if he can... Okay, so he does finally get a Forest Arena proc. Hopefully he gets a Zozu. There we go. We see the Tajik. So, 2 attacks, Matron Malice, Tajik. Tajik is a 6/7 with ward, and Gwenhwyvar is a 2/2. I think it's just going to kill the 3/1 Malice and call it a day. Maybe you're also going to block the 6/7 because 6 damage is just too much to take. But I wouldn't say that Amerinan is out of it yet, because he does have Looting Lizard to sort of, you know, restock his hand, and that's perfect. So kills the Matron Malice, and only 3 things died, so Matron Malice does not come back, and Amerinan is still at a healthy 2/2, or 22 rather, so is Lucas. Okay, so we do see a bug, because it says at the end of the turn if 4 more creatures entered the graveyard, but maybe it says it counts Gwenhwyvar, which I do think is a bug, and it does seem like it's a bug. But in any case, we do see Amerinan fill the absolute living crap out of his board. 4 creatures in a single turn. So he does have enough to block, but if we do see all these blocks happening, Matron Malice is going to die, so that's 1. Gwenhwyvar dies, that's 2. A 3rd creature will die, like Colonian Tusker or something to block. Alright, and now we do see Zozu. And with the Forest Arena blocked, I pretty much think that's a Zozu, that's a hard thing for Zozu to get into. I think it's time to Zozu, but nope, he decides to Stoneforge Mystic, alright. Stoneforge Mystic becomes a 4-5, and maybe Trample on the Todrick, because, Amerinan doesn't have any sort of answer to sort of such high health, so might as well give him Trample. There we go. So I think there's a bit of an issue. Decides not to play the Mystic Weapon now. There's a bit of an issue where Matron Malice is going to come back. And I don't think Amerinan has an answer to that. He just needs to sort of play his hand and Looting Lizard to sort of lock and load. Alright, so they trade even Steven, but that's 2 down. Do we get 2 more? So yeah, Colonian Tusker goes down. And I think he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to block the 3-2 because that's just a free sort of thing. So 3 creatures go down and Guanravar does not die. It just gets returned to its idol. And there we go. There's no Matron Malice. Alright, so Cloning Tusker and Looting Lizard to restock. There we go, reload! Blitzing Minotaur, Spear Crown Stag, alright. Watsy Lucas is like, wow, but he's not doing too bad, Watsy Lucas, right? It looks like Watsy Lucas has a trap, but he doesn't. So he just sort of takes it on the chin, the 2 damage. And yeah, I think that Looting Lizard pretty much brought him back into the game. Watsy Lucas does have Zozu, too bad it doesn't have the haste, but maybe he's going to trample on the Zozu. There we go. Oh no, so he picked the 3-2, my apologies ladies and gentlemen, 3-2. And again, a 6 health creature doesn't really have a good answer when you're playing as Domri. You just have to sort of, block your way to victory. And finally kills the Tajik, takes 4 damage to the face, but luckily he does have Spear Crown Stag, which is a perfect answer. So I think maybe the next play, if Amerinan has 7 mana, is Blitzing Minotaur and just attack, and see if Spear Crown Stag, decides, okay, so he doesn't decide. His Molten Monastery does proc, I think it's Spear Crown Stag into the 9-2, just to kill it, because you don't want it to, have Trample or something, or flying on another, sort of Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, and gives his boar, or himself rather, doesn't matter. There we go, give himself +2, so it becomes a 4-2. And Mage's Malice is back, and there we see the Infernal value, the 2-3 that got nerfed to the 2-2 with the armor. And he does play the, that thing that gives a -2 cost legend and gets Tarask. I think Tarask is sort of a hard endgame answer against Domri, who just has no way to remove Tarask. Doesn't have any of the polymorphs, doesn't have the, Pixie Trickster, doesn't have, on summons, and cannot do the damage because Tarask is going to come back in if he dies. So I think that's a hard GG, but we'll see if Amerinan can pull something out of his hat with just a sheer amount of attacking. So, yep, gives his guy, it's now a 1-4 thanks to the Inferno. And yeah, so Blitzing Minotaur, I think is going to attack regardless. And there we go. And the 4-2 is probably going to die, but I think he might attack anyways because now he doesn't have any choice. So probably the 5-3 will get blocked by the 2-3 with the armor, and maybe the 4-2, decides, okay, kills the 4-2. Maybe he takes 5 damage, and blocks the 2-1, there we go. So maximizes his creatures, abilities, takes 5 damage. But I think this might be game simply because Tarask will not have an answer from Amerinan. Good game, well done. Yeah, I think he kind of knows, right? So he attacks with everything. I don't know if you have to attack with the 1-2, but there we go. There's the Tarask. And with the 6 damage, Trample, Guanravar, and the 2-3, so it's going to be 2 damage no matter what. He has to block the 6-2. And yeah, the biggest creature to block is 3, which means he takes at least the 3 damage. Alright, never mind. Takes at least the 4 damage from the Guanravar and the 2 damage. That's 6 damage in total. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to be game because he got Isochron Scepter. And I don't think it really matters because he has no answer to the flying, and there's Tarask. And Matron Malice comes back for good measure. So I think this is Watsy Lucas's game, everybody. Very well done, Watsy Lucas. Very good try. Amerinan, this was pre-nerf Drizzt, but post-nerf Drizzt is a different story where we do see, at least according to the Discord forums, we do see Domri having a very good win ratio across the entire board. And now people are talking about Ashiok, so maybe we can get a video about some Ashiok versus Ashiok games, who knows. Please do stay tuned. So we're gonna see WotC Lucas do one more attack. Amerinan is not gonna block, and we do see Guanhovar grow to a ridiculous 9-4 because it did get summoned, and it does proc the Forest Arena. There we go, very well done. So now you guys, I hope you guys enjoy these tournaments. You get to see how both players, if we get their videos, we're gonna see both their hands, and that sometimes can teach us a lot of different tricks. So very well done, WotC Lucas. Very good try, Amerinan. And we'll see you, WotC Lucas, in the next round.